The interruption, fluorescent lights hum over a cafeteria converted into a company town hall. Folding chairs, canned coffee, a stage of acrylic podiums. A banner, Vanguard Meridian, Integrity in Action. Phone cameras are already up. The CEO, Leonard Pike, silver hair and controlled smile, waits behind the podium. At his side, HR Director Eliza Darrow holds a thick white envelope. The microphone squeals before catching a steady gain. Eliza. Sophia Reyes, would you please come to the front? A young woman in a modest blouse stands halfway back, knuckles white around a reusable water bottle. People shift in their chairs. A murmur. That's the accounts assistant. A few nod as if they knew this was coming. Eliza, measured. Ms. Reyes, per our findings, your employment is terminated effective immediately for policy violations concerning unauthorized vendor payments. Sophia attempts a word, loses it, then tries again. I didn't. A blue cart rolls quietly from the side aisle. Mop bucket, rags, a brown manila folder bungee tied to the handle. Driving it is Miles Carter, 48, black, close-cropped hair, the night shift lead custodian wearing a company polo, in the calm of someone who has cleaned chaos for decades. He stops beside the front row. Miles, voice steady, carrying. Please, don't fire her. The cafeteria exchanges oxygen for silence. Security Supervisor Tomas Vega takes a half step forward, palm open. The CEO's jaw tightens. Eliza freezes, eyes flicking to legal counsel near the wall. Miles lifts the manila folder only slightly, enough for the front rows to see colored tabs. Miles. Not before these are entered into the record. According to maintenance shift logs and internal documents discarded on July 14th, the payments were authorized from the CEO's office after hours, not by Ms. Reyes. Witnesses stated they saw Mr. Pike at the building past midnight twice that week. A bloodless smile from the CEO. Pike. Mr. Carter, this is not your place. Miles. My place is this building. I clean what gets left behind. A whisper ripples. Did he just say that? Eliza, to security. Let's keep order, please. Miles lifts his chin, not moving his feet. Miles. Section 12.3 of the Code of Conduct. Anyone may raise a compliance concern without retaliation. Town hall is recorded, right? A person in IT raises a timid hand from the AV console. Tech. Yes, we're streaming internally. Miles. Good. The cameras of coworkers refocus on him. A few nods from the night crew near the back. Several floor supervisors stare at Pike. On the edge of stage light, a board member, Ruth Ellison, watches without blinking. Miles. I request as an employee in good standing that these documents be reviewed before Ms. Reyes is terminated. Based on what I found, firing her without that review would be knowingly false. Over the PA, a muffled cough. Eliza's fingers curl around the envelope. Eliza. We'll take this offline. Miles, firm. No, ma'am. Not offline. Not again. Sophia, still standing, mouth trembling, finds breath. I didn't do what they said. I never did. According to several employees present in the cafeteria that morning, this is when the room shifted. Something in the janitor's voice, not loud but precise, cut through the choreography. Miles. You all put a banner up there that says integrity in action. Then let's act on it. Camera-like focus. The manila folder in Miles's hands. Tabs marked A through F. The faint smell of lemon cleaner in the air. On a distant monitor, the internal stream lags by half a beat. Comments flicker on the side. What is he doing? Who is that? OMG, that's Miles. Miles. I collected this with care. It includes dates, times, shredded printouts, reassembled, and witness statements recorded with consent. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize right here. He looks to Sophia. Miles. But please, don't fire her before you look. A hush, and then Tomas lowers his hand. Tomas. Let him speak. The CEO's face drains a shade. Pike. Ruth, we don't need... Ruth Ellison, even. Mr. Carter, we'll hear you for 5 minutes. No names beyond those present. Keep to facts you can attest to. Miles nods once. He slides the first tab open. Miles. Tab A, the night the shredder jammed. Softly, like a thesis against a storm. Disclaimer, this story is a work of fiction. All characters and events are imaginary. Like and subscribe for more stories that challenge prejudice and celebrate courage. Part 2. The Shredder. The camera finds a different light. Late-night fluorescence, empty corridors, dilated silence. According to maintenance logs and badge scans, Miles clocked in at 10:58 p.m. on July 14th. The air smelled of ink and burned plastic. Miles' voice, now in the cafeteria. 2 weeks ago, the shredder in copy room 3A was humming when it shouldn't have been. It was 1:17 a.m. I know the timing because the ice machine dumps at E15 past, and I hadn't reached it yet. In the remembered scene, he pushes open the copy room door. The shredder light is green, the bin overfull, strips of paper curl like torn grass. Someone had forced more through. He leans close, listening. A second motor spins down in the CEO's suite 2 doors away. The door is closed. The blinds are drawn. Miles, to the room. That shredder had overheated. Anyone who uses it knows it throws a red LED. This time it didn't. That meant someone flipped the breaker to cycle it. He kneels, eyes catching a torn strip wedged beneath the safety cover. He tugs gently. It resists, then gives. The strip shows a fragment. Authorized payment. Archer Poe, 0712. Miles, calm. I carry a lockout tag kit for safety. I shut it down. I emptied the bin. I bagged the contents into a clean liner and marked it as maintenance, held for disposal pending repair. He glances at Ruth. Miles. I was trained to photograph any safety locks. I have time-stamped photos of the shredder with the tag in place. You can check the maintenance app. Priya Natarajan, the IT tech, lifts her laptop. Priya. He's right. There's a work order at 1:04 a.m. with photos. A ripple through the crowd. Miles. I took the bag to the custodial closet to cool the motor. Later, on my break, I noticed some strips had letterheads. He doesn't say he felt his pulse in his fingers when he saw the company logo, the header, vendor approval form, the name Archer Point Advisory, and a signature box. He doesn't have to. The room can hear it in the measured way he says the name. Miles. For the record, I did not open the CEO's door. I didn't need to. I logged an overheating problem and removed the safety hazard. He looks at Sophia. Miles. The next morning, Ms. Reyes cried in the stairwell. She told me she couldn't find an invoice that accounting said she approved because the document trail didn't make sense. I told her to breathe and write down everything she knew. The cafeteria watches Sophia nod. Sophia, voice thin but clear. I never had authority to add a new vendor. They said I did. Eliza. Authority can be delegated. Miles. Not to a junior analyst without a director's countersignature. That's page 36 of the Financial Controls Manual. Ben Choi in Facilities saw the manual left open in the CEO's conference room. It was flipped to the approvals page. A few people glance at each other. Someone whispers, he's quoting page numbers? Miles taps Tab B. Miles. Tab B, reconstructed printouts. He lays out photographs, strips like puzzle pieces arranged on a workbench, taped edge to edge. According to his statement, he spent 3 nights on them. After clocking out, careful to keep all original material sealed and labeled. Miles. I saved copies on my phone camera with timestamps, then returned all originals to a secure custodial locker. I notified my union steward that I was retaining potential compliance material. I didn't touch anything else. He touches a photo. The image shows a near-complete page. Vendor, Archer Point Advisory, submission 0712, approver Office of CEO. A signature line bears a scrawled P, ending with a sharp slash. Miles. The printer name on the footer is CEO Suite HP01. Pike raises a hand, too careful to look casual. Pike. Anyone could route to that printer. Miles. You're correct. That's why tab C is the door log. The room hums with the sound of people privately doing the math. The janitor knows the manual. The janitor kept chain of custody. The janitor is speaking like a careful investigator. Miles removes a plastic sleeve containing 3 printed screenshots. Miles. I don't have access to IT systems, but Facilities gets a daily exception report for door overrides in case a lock sticks. I signed for it when I mopped the executive corridor. On July 12th and 14th, the CEO suite door was opened with a mechanical override at 12:03 a.m. and 1:05 a.m. Priya, checking. Door controller shows 2 late-night manual overrides those dates. That's only possible with a physical key. Tomas speaks for the first time in the new register of a man who knows his job is now part of a bigger thing. Tomas. Only 3 keys exist for that override. CEO, Facilities Director, and Security Supervisor. He pats his ring. Tomas. Mine is audited daily. The Facilities Director was in Kansas City at a conference. I signed his key out, sealed in depository. It wasn't disturbed. Miles. Also, At 12:39 a.m. on the 14th, a small package was deposited in the dumpster and retrieved within 9 minutes by a black sedan that pulled into the loading bay without a delivery ticket. That's on camera. He nods to Priya again. Priya, loading bay camera shows a sedan with dealer plates entering, stopping, exiting at 12:48 a.m. The plate wasn't captured, but vehicle log notes and unauthorized entry alert. Pike tries to move closer to the mic and ends up moving a half step back. Pike, we're entertaining a building ghost story based on trash. Miles, trash tells the truth about what we pretend didn't happen. A low sound rolls through the cafeteria. Not laughter, not shock, something like recognition. Miles, Ms. Reyes was asked about vendor forms the next day. She told me she had never seen Archer Point Advisory before, so I asked her to file a written request to see the approval trail. She said she was told not to overcomplicate things. Sophia, they called it being a team player. Eliza's face remains a practiced surface. Eliza, we are not discussing HR conversations. Ruth, gently, we are today, carefully, and then we will appoint outside counsel. Miles turns a page in his folder. Typed at the top, witness statement, Priya Natarajan. Below it, a date and time, and a simple sentence. I saw the CEO in the copy room area at roughly 12:50 a.m. on July 14th while rebooting the AV server. He nodded, said late night, and kept walking. Signed electronically. Priya. I didn't think it was my place to... Miles. It's all our place when we rent our days to a company. That's what my mother used to say. He lifts his eyes, aware of the line he's walking. Miles. I'm not making accusations. I'm presenting observations and asking you to stop the wrong thing from happening to the wrong person. On the far side, an accounts payable coordinator, Marcus Lynn, speaks up. Marcus. I flagged Archer Point because its W-9 listed a residential address in a P.O. box with no tax ID in our vendor master. I was told it was a strategic advisor and to process it. The approvals came stamped CEO's office. It bypassed our queue. A notebook closes. Someone exhales too loudly. The cafeteria is now a courtroom without a bench. Miles. Tab D is the photos from the custodial closet. I reassembled 3 documents, the vendor setup, the approval, and a memo titled Q3 Retention Payments, Discretionary. Parts of names are missing, but one line appears in 2 documents. Initiate via APA to maintain optics. He raises a photo. The letters are clear enough through the tape. Miles. Ms. Reyes' name appears only at the end of a remittance summary as processed S. Reyes Auto. She was the last button in an automated chain. He looks at Sophia. Miles. If you fire her, you're firing the person who's easiest to fire. The quiet allies. The cafeteria is no longer on Pike's script. He checks his watch as if it could rewind time. The board chair keeps her hands folded as if holding back tide. Miles. I don't want my job to be a podium. I want my job to be a mop and a keyring, but I also carry the building's memory. According to those present, Miles did not rush. He accounted. He called people by name softly, the way you call a person you want to walk with you, not for you. Miles. Mr. Vega, you saw me tag the shredder that night. Tomas nods. Tomas. He did. I initialed it. Miles. Ben Choi, when I told you about the breaker reset? From the back, a man in a facilities vest raises a hand. Ben. Yeah. He called me at 1:30 a.m. I told him to lock out and call it in. The panel log shows the breaker flip and reset at that time. Miles. Ms. Darrow, when I asked if there was a safe way to submit compliance material without discipline, you told me to email the ethics inbox. Eliza. Which you did. Miles. Yes, 2 days ago. No response yet. A rustle of paper near legal counsel. Counsel. The inbox is triaged weekly. Miles. Weekly is slow when a person's life can be changed in a minute. Sophia wipes at her face, her eyes steady. Sophia. Why would I risk my mother's rent to steal for a company I just joined? I asked 3 times for training on vendor setups. I was told to learn as I go. Marcus. We all were. Pike. We are a fast-moving organization. We empower. Ruth. We are a governed organization, Leonard. Miles slides out another sheet, a printout of an email fragment reassembled. Miles. Maintain optics. I don't know what those optics are, but I know that phrase belongs in a marketing deck, not in a vendor approval. I know that I have seen Ms. Reyes pick gum off the underside of these tables because she said she didn't like leaving things for other people to find. He places the sheet down. Miles. I also know what it looks like when black and brown workers are asked to be the mistake you need to prove you're serious about rules. You don't have to say race to practice it. A nerve is touched without being torn. The room sits with the weight of the sentence. No slurs, no weapons, just the calibrated heaviness of routine harm. Miles, level. Ms. Reyes is young, and you called her disposable. I'm older, and you call me invisible. But both of us know how to make a building run. The people who make the building run are the ones who can tell you when it's about to break. Ruth clears her throat softly. Ruth, Mr. Carter, do you have anything that directly implicates the CEO in personal gain? Miles, I have a vendor with a residential address that matches the home of a man identified on LinkedIn as Mr. Pike's brother-in-law. I have a memo suggesting discretionary payments routed through that vendor. I have a schedule of transfers that correlates with dates of announced retention bonuses. And I have a black sedan arriving to pick up shredding outside of scheduled waste collection. He pauses. Miles, I don't know what those mean beyond what they look like, but I know they mean slow down before you end a person's job. Pike, this is defamatory. Ruth, it is testimony based on documents and observations. We will not litigate it here. We will determine if Ms. Reyes's termination will be paused pending review. Eliza clutches the envelope a little harder, then forces her hand to relax. Eliza, pending review. Sophia exhales as if someone turned a valve. Part 5. The corridor between. According to witness statements, the meeting did not end. It folded. Conversations became huddles. Legal counsel moved to a corner with HR. The CEO stepped down from the stage and stood almost in profile, talking low into his phone. Miles stood in the aisle with his cart like a column he carried. The brown manila folder closed now, hands at rest on the handle. People approached and drifted away. A colleague from custodial, Alonzo, bumped his shoulder gently. Alonzo, you okay? Miles, I'm holding a bag that could tear if I move wrong. Alonzo nods, eyes on the floor. Marcus joins, whispering, Marcus, if they come for you. Miles, they'll come for the floor first, they always do. Then the person who cleaned it. He says it like he's said it before, not bitter, practiced. Priya approaches, small and squared. Priya, I'm sorry I didn't say anything sooner. Miles, you said it now. Priya, if they subpoena my logs. Miles, tell the truth and keep your receipts. Sophia steps closer, swallowed, and then spat back by the crowd. Her voice is quiet, but intact. Sophia, why did you help me, Miles? Because you asked for help without knowing you had? Because you cried where you thought no one was, and I was there? And because my mother lost a job on a lie once. She couldn't afford the lie more than the job. Sophia, what happened, Miles? She told the truth anyway. It took a while, but it worked. It left a mark. Good marks sometimes hurt too. He doesn't add that the mark is why he reads policy manuals on his lunch breaks, why he knows the cleaning schedule better than some know their children's birthdays, why he can recite the code of conduct. He doesn't need to say it. He's wearing it. Ruth steps into the aisle. She is the kind of person who has learned to walk into rooms without alarming them. Ruth, Mr. Carter, I'm going to call a closed session of the board. I want to secure those documents. Will you provide them directly to an independent counsel we appoint? Miles, yes, if I may keep copies or access to copies for my protection. Ruth, we can arrange that. Pike appears behind her like a shadow that forgot to soften. Pike, Ruth, this is theater. Ruth, Leonard, sit down. Miles meets Pike's eyes with the courtesy due a person who signs paychecks and the clarity owed a person who signs them wrong. Miles, sir, if I am wrong, I will apologize publicly. But if I am right, you owe her more than a severance. Pike, I don't owe lectures from a janitor. Tomas, who had been letting his shoulders speak through their width, speaks with his mouth. Tomas, he's an employee. Address him like one. A sudden still. The cafeteria has turned itself into a place where words land differently. Part 6. The table of pieces, according to photos later shared internally, the custodial closet at the west end of the first floor had been turned into a lab for origami crimes. A wooden workbench, painter's tape, labeled envelopes, a borrowed desk lamp, strips of paper like pale fish bones waiting for reassembly. Miles, addressing the room. I didn't touch what wasn't in my care. I took only what the machine expelled. I wore gloves. I labeled everything. I called my union steward and left a voicemail. I told him I believed I had found potential ethics violations. I didn't accuse anyone. I just described what I had. He gestures to tab E, photographs of partially reassembled documents, a header from compliance training, a draft email. Let's run discretionary retention through Archer Point. Optics will be cleaner. Another, S. Reyes will process remittances. She's cleared on the system. A no sender captured. But the CC line shows Eliza D. cut like a river. Eliza. That could be any Eliza. Miles. It could. That's why I brought it here, not to a blog. He flips to tab F, a handwritten note on a legal pad page. Call B keys after midnight. The ink smears at the edge where the strip ends. Ben Choi raises a hand. Ben. I didn't give anyone keys after midnight. I left mine in the depository, sealed. I can show the log. Miles. The lock override can also be done with a master kept in the CEO safe. Facilities logs show a safe access at 11:58 p.m. on the 14th. Priya. Safe logs are in the building server. That needs board permission to review. Ruth. You have it. Pike. Ruth. Ruth. Leonard. I'm protecting you too. If this is a misunderstanding, an independent review clears your name. If it isn't, we have work to do. Miles. I also spoke to the night driver at Waste Management. He said a black sedan tailgated him through the bay and left without dumping. Said he thought it was a VP who forgot their badge. He wrote the time on a coffee receipt. Alonzo pulls a crumpled copy from his pocket. Alonzo. He gave it to me because I signed for the dumpsters. Ruth takes the copy with the careful neutrality of someone accepting a newborn at a courthouse. Ruth. We will get counsel. Effective immediately, Ms. Reyes's termination is paused. She is placed on paid administrative leave until the conclusion of the review. Mr. Carter, your hours and duties remain unchanged, and you are protected from retaliation under policy. Eliza exhales, a breath measured out of a spreadsheet. Eliza. Understood. Sophia sags against a chair and stands back up as if refusing gravity. Sophia. Thank you. Miles. This is just the start. LN Part 7. The calls. Over the next 48 hours, according to internal memos that later circulated, the board retained outside counsel. The counsel requested access to door logs, printer histories, camera footage, and executive communications. They asked to interview the janitor who had spoken without raising his voice. In a conference room, a stenographer angled a microphone toward Miles. Ruth sat in, legal present, HR present, Tomas in the back, arms folded like a scaffold. Counsel, state your name and role for the record. Miles. Miles Carter, night shift lead custodian, employee ID 10493, 18 years. Counsel. You said you reassembled shredded documents. Miles. Yes, I photographed them, and I returned all material to custodial secure storage pending instruction. Reason. Safety lockout procedure led me to handle the shredder. I considered the material an incident byproduct. Counsel. Did anyone assist you? Miles. No. People looked in. No one touched. Counsel. Did you discuss this with Ms. Reyes prior to the town hall? Miles. I told her to write everything she knew. I did not show her documents then. I did not want to taint her with things she didn't collect. Counsel nods, a small nod that says the word chain of custody in legalese without having to say it. Counsel. Did you see the CEO late at night? Miles. I saw a silhouette in the executive hall after hours. I heard his voice once. Late night. That's all I'd testify to. Counsel. Do you believe Ms. Reyes did what HR alleged? Miles. I believe she didn't have the authority to do what she's accused of. I believe the system logged her as the last touch. That's different. Counsel. Why did you speak up publicly? Miles. Because I emailed the ethics inbox and didn't hear back. Because I watched this happen before to someone without a voice. Because if I raised it privately, it could be handled privately. Public harm shouldn't be cleaned in private. In the cafeteria, back with the original crowd in memory, those words feel like a mop wrung over the tile. Heavy, wet, necessary. Sophia, in her apartment that night, told a friend over the phone. He held a folder like it could break, like it was glass, not paper. According to her, she didn't sleep. According to her, she finally did. The return. 3 days later, an email arrived. Interim findings, insufficient evidence to terminate S. Reyes, suspension of CEO pending full review. Screenshots bounced between texts like sparks. The cafeteria saw the news in people's faces before they heard it in their phones. Ruth stood in front of the same acrylic podium, no banner this time. Ruth. Based on preliminary findings, the board has asked Mr. Pike to step aside during a full independent review. Ms. Reyes will return to work with back pay. We will appoint an interim CEO. We will expand ethics training and provide direct reporting to the board. We will also create an ethics liaison role to ensure that concerns raised by any employee are heard swiftly. A murmur of applause that felt more like relief. Sophia looks for Miles and finds him already looking away, as if attention is a spill to avoid. Sophia, thank you. Miles, don't thank me. Do the job right so I don't have to do this again. Ruth steps toward Miles. Ruth, Mr. Carter, we'd like to offer you that ethics liaison role, part-time alongside your current duties. You've demonstrated extraordinary judgment. Miles, I'm a janitor. Ruth, you're the person who told the truth when it was inconvenient. He looks at the cart. The mop handle rests like a spine. Miles, I'll do it if I can keep my shift. These halls still need to shine when the day starts. Ruth, we can do that. Tomas claps him on the shoulder, a quiet strike like a bell. Tomas, you kept the halls shining when the lights were off too. Pike's office door is closed, blinds drawn, a symbol now of something values can't tolerate. According to an internal memo, outside counsel found that Archer Point Advisory was connected to a relative of the CEO and used to route discretionary funds without appropriate controls. The findings went to the board. No one cheers. They absorb. The joy is tempered. The work continues. Lillen. Part 9. The Cleanup. According to updated policy documents, the company rolled out new vendor approval procedures, multi-party signature requirements, and rapid response ethics intake. The ethics inbox now forwards to 3 people, including the board chair. Posters went up in break rooms that didn't feel like propaganda. They listed phone numbers and plain promises. Miles spends the first hour of his next shift doing what he always did, wiping the fingerprint smudges off glass doors. He pauses at the CEO suite to retape a corner protector that keeps scuffs off the jamb. He does the small things well. He always did. Sophia walks past. She hesitates. Sophia. They put me on a project to fix the vendor master, with Marcus. Miles. Good. Be boring. Make the system so boring it's beautiful. She laughs for the first time since the cafeteria. Sophia. I'm trying. Priya brings by a printout. Thank you in Helvetica, taped under the ethics hotline. Priya's eyes meet his over the tape. Priya. I filed my own note about the AV server. It feels different now. Miles. Different doesn't always mean safe. It means pay attention. He moves his cart. According to a maintenance note, he replaced the shredder in copy room 3A with a model that crosscuts and auto-locks when overheating. He posted a sign. If it jams, stop. Don't fix it with speed. Ruth stops by late, coat over her arm. Ruth. My father swept with a push broom in a factory. He taught me that sweeping is not about dirt. It's about what you refuse to work around. You did that here. Miles nods, the kind of nod that contains both compliment and deflection. Miles. You're going to change the locks. Ruth. We already did. They look down the hall together. Light pools and stripes on the polished floor. Boots, heels, sneakers, all the ways people carry their days. We'll scuff it again tomorrow. That's the point. Part 10. The floor. The cafeteria is different in afternoon light. The banner is gone. The podium's gone. The voice is quieter. A janitor pushes a blue cart across a floor that doesn't show you what it's been through. According to those who were there the day it broke open, what changed wasn't just a decision. It was a definition. Who gets to speak and how you listen when they do. Sophia speaks on camera for the internal newsletter. Sophia. I was going to lose my job because I was easy to lose. But someone who wasn't supposed to speak up spoke. He didn't make it about him. He made it about what's right. That's what I want to do now. Tomas adds a sentence that feels like architecture. Tomas. The building remembers. People like Miles read it. A final scene. Miles in the custodial closet, the one turned into an evidence table. The table is clear now. The tape rolls are back on their hook. The manila folders are sealed, labeled, handed off. He sets down a new sheet of paper, a sign-up sheet for a lunch and learn on how to raise a concern. He prints neat lines. He leaves a pen tied to the board with twine so it won't go missing. He picks up a rag, rings it with the practiced turn of wrist. He moves to the hallway, kneels to buff a scuff into a dull memory. A voice from somewhere we can't place with precision. Maybe the cafeteria, maybe the union hall, maybe the voice we hear in our own chest when we find a right we can't afford to let go. Offers a last line. Miles, quiet, to Sophia, to himself, to everyone. Clean floors are easy. Clean consciences take work. He stands. He walks. The camera follows the cart until it disappears around a corner where the light is natural and soft. Disclaimer. This story is a work of fiction. All characters and events are imaginary. Like and subscribe for more stories that challenge prejudice and celebrate courage.